for our special interview with Tina in the hot seat today. So stick around. We're going to interview Tina and go over her journey as to how she became a coach here at Pulse and how it all started. So it's a great story and a lot of good information to come. So we're going to start with our wins of the week. Jessica, what is your win for this week?
Okay, my win actually has to do with Tina, ironically. Tina shared an interview with one of her 12-week transformation clients. And just like all of us, Jamie, whom she interviewed, had struggles. And when Jamie shared those struggles, it really connected and resonated with one of the ladies that I am working with within the 12-week transformation. It really helped her refocus and reframe her mindset and just keep her focus going straight forward and to understand that we all have struggles in life, but we don't give up. We just keep on moving and we keep pushing forward. So when we lock arms, it's a great community. So thank you for sharing that, Tina. And thank you, Jamie. Josh, your win of the week.
Yeah, so mine's kind of along that line. I've actually had a few of our transformation clients that I've been working with on the nutrition end. And a common theme kind of lately has been getting in those calories. And I've got a few ladies who got in those calories and we've seen some losses on the scale. So big wins by eating more.
And Tina, what do you got?
Okay, so my win this week is a valuable lesson that I've always known, but it was just a great reminder that if you never ask, the answer is always no. Somebody that Jessica and I have been mentored by for mindset coaching is going to be coming to Pulse in June to do a workshop. We don't have all the details worked out, but stay tuned for that announcement. It's super exciting, and I know we're all very excited that this is happening. So, yay! Jeff, what do you got?
I got on my guys trip. I actually got 2 workouts in, which in the past I've never done before on one of those trips. And when I went for one of my runs, even got one of the other guys to come out and join me. So that was a huge win, and just goes to show, like, as long as if you ask people, people want to go do these things. They want to be active. So we just need to ask more people to go out and do these things with us and not, assume that they aren't going to go do it with us. So that was my win of the week, which was really good. So now we're going to just dive right into Tina. And Jessica actually wanted to get the party started, so she's got the first question for you.
Oh boy, I'm
Oh,
ready, I think.
okay, well, I think this will be relatable with a lot of women out there, Tina. So I would like to know what made you take that first step into walking into the door at the gym and reaching out to Jeff to ask for help, because I know that first step is always the hardest step. So,
Yeah.
what drove you?
So this will be going back to 2011. I had just had my third child. She was just under a year old. So just a little backstory. I had children in 2004, 2007, and 2010. So in between those pregnancies, I had yo-yoed a lot, tried a lot of different diets, tried a lot of magic pills, so to speak, like looking for the quickest, fastest way to get to where I wanted to go. And with each pregnancy brought a little bit of extra. And then knowing that it was probably my last pregnancy, I wasn't quite as motivated to take care of myself. And I had 4 young children. I have a stepson as well. So at the time I had kids ranging from 12 years old to 8 or 9 months, and life was busy. My husband had a very demanding career, and I was also working. So like life was crazy. And I, like most moms, didn't think that I could even take the time to do something like that for myself. But that was a story. I knew I could, but I kind of used that as an excuse to do nothing. And instead what happened was I just kind of, dismissed it like I'm too busy. There's just no time for me to take care of myself. And then I actually had ran into another person that worked out at Pulse, and I don't know how new it was or how old it was, but I mean, this is like Facebook wasn't really like social media wasn't like on the rise. There wasn't a lot of stuff. It was just more like, what do you hear from different people about where to go? And someone said, why don't you go talk to Jeff Wynot? He owns a gym. And I knew Jeff's brother. He was a classmate of mine. I'm like, okay, well, like, I'm going to go see this guy, whatever. Set up an appointment with Jeff and went to see him. And, you know, that's how I walked into Pulse. It was really scary. I made my husband go with me. He actually started working out with me. And it was, you know, a conversation later in the years, you know, my husband told me, like, I went with you just because I knew that you needed that extra help. But that's the cool thing I want to say about Pulse. Like, once I got inside, I didn't need the help anymore because I was even back then, before it was as big as it is now, the community of people that were in there. Some people still work out here now. I would like to call myself a Pulse OG, right? Like, I'm back to some pretty beginning stages. So I didn't need the help, but I did need the push. And I definitely found a very supportive community. Obviously, I'm still here this many years later. I'm really bad at math, so don't ask me to tell you how many years that was. But my first workout at Pulse would have been in like August or September of 2011. Mm-hmm. So coming in there was definitely, I will tell you, that was the hardest step and the best step I have ever taken in my life, period. Like, there's just no question about that.
So just a quick overview for those who don't know is Tina hasn't always been a coach. So Tina became part of Pulse as a client for several years before she actually became a coach. So for those of you who don't know Tina or haven't known her for 12 or 13 years that it's been now, like myself, would maybe not know that that's how you actually got started. So kind of to go off of that, Tina, you know, what actually happened when you first got started, you know, over the first couple of years of getting started?
Yeah. So I started, like I said, in 2011. And, you know, when you get started with something, I, you know, of course, was very motivated. And I think I shared this on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. People around me were doing HCG drops or something like that. And I remember having conversations with Jeff about my weight loss because, of course, at the time, I just wanted to lose weight. That's all I wanted. I wasn't worried about how good I even did in the gym. It was just the fact that I was working out to lose weight. That was my mindset at the time. Like, just want to lose weight. I had this idea in my head that if I got to a certain weight, everything in my life was going to change. Well, sure, that's kind of true, but it had nothing to do with my weight. It had everything to do with all the things that happened along that journey to losing weight. So Jeff, being he was a great guy, good coach, good mentor, basically laid it out for me. And like, anytime I would lose a pound or two, he's like, listen, like, this is what your body's doing. This is how it's changing. And you can do it the fast way, or you can do it this way and it's going to last a lot longer. And I'm glad that I listened, and I'm glad I had that voice of reason and somebody in my corner that was like, you know, I know it's not sexy, it's not fast, but it's happening. Go with it, right? So it was great. Well, it did. Everything went really well. I lost a little bit of weight. I actually really enjoyed the workouts. I love strength training. I found a new outlet in working out that I had never actually experienced in my life. And then I also, again, like you guys, I told you guys a little bit ago, young kids. Not that my life was overly stressful. It was very busy. So I started eating a lot in private. I guess I would call it binging. I mean, like, let's just call it what it is. I might show up to the gym diligently, might go for walks. I was active. But I would also find comfort in food and not apples and bananas. It was food that, you know, just like a lot of us, maybe it was salty, sweet, whatever the case may be. But I actually was working out with Jeff, and I wonder what he thought at the time, but I had put on about 50 pounds. I gained about 50 pounds over the course of probably 2 or 3 years. Continued to work out the whole time, though. It was just something that happened that I don't know if I couldn't control it, but the truth is, I guess I couldn't. I didn't have the right outlets in my life. I didn't have my mindset in the right place because, like I told you, weight loss was the goal. That was it. I just thought I was going to arrive somewhere when the scale had a number on it that I liked. Like, oh, my kids will, my life will be easier. I'll be a better mom. My kids won't be as busy. I won't be worried about this or that. I'll just be happy because of just 3 numbers. And obviously what actually happened was I was just, taking comfort in the wrong things and not having the correct outlets to actually deal with what I needed to deal with.
Yeah. So, thanks for sharing. I know that can be, this is the tough part of the story. And like I said, but the good thing about your story is it's actually a large part of, myself, learning a lot about how we should actually do things better now, 10 years later, looking back. It's like, there's a lot of mistakes. Like, man, if we were teaching the same way we do now back then, maybe that wouldn't have happened to you and wouldn't have went down that path the way that it went. But because of it, I think, obviously we learn from things that are struggles, and that's the good part. And I learned a lot about you, and the way that you responded is the same way that so many other people respond. So many other moms and women respond to having to weigh in, to put that stress about the scale and losing weight, to where now that is not how we do anything at all anymore.
No.
We take the scale away from the process. Knowing and reflecting back on your struggles and knowing that there were days that you actually missed the gym because you knew you were going to have to weigh in.
Yeah.
And now to think that we would ever do that to somebody ever again is just crazy.
Yeah.
But it, unfortunately it took some tough times to learn those valuable lessons, and no good lesson ever comes for free.
No. And, what happened after that too is, I know we were just kind of talking about my journey, but kind of the thing that started changing it. And this was something that I dealt with. Again, this is something that I had to deal with. It wasn't about just losing weight. It was about dealing with what was going on. I've never shared this. I took a picture of the scale, and it was on my phone, and my husband saw it, and he said, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's what I weigh." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And I mean, I knew I weighed more than him. And I was like, I don't know why that hit me so hard. But it did. And something right after that happened. And I don't know if it was just like, maybe, husbands and wives, we're busy, we talk, but sometimes we're passing ships. And just knowing that maybe then we started talking and talking about it, and knowing that I was struggling made it so much easier for me then to make a path forward. And so I think that was a really important turning point in the story, for sure.
So now we get to go into the good stuff and seeing the change that Tina got to make and has made and has continued to make over the last, I guess, probably 9 years, I guess.
Yeah,
roughly,
probably,
maybe 10?
Yeah, it's probably around that. Like I said, something shifted, and I started focusing on my nutrition, and not in the way of restriction, but in the way, and that's the good thing. I had a support system that I already knew that I could go to this support system, and I just wasn't taking advantage of it. And learning, how to eat and eating food to fuel my body, not to restrict, not to worry about if I was eating too much lettuce or too many apples or bananas or whatever, like weird foods. People are like, don't eat too many bananas. But just knowing that it was okay to eat, and to eat good, healthy food that fueled me. And just knowing that in my corner, I had support. It changed my life. And, like I said, I had the support at home. And of course I have these wonderful children. They were supportive. I had the gym, and then and that time I had Jeff, and then Josh came into the picture at some point in there too. And I remember, just anytime I'd come in and have questions, it was just like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's great. That sounds great. Tweak this, do that. And again, I sound like, oh, it just happened so easy. This was years, 3 years that it took me to lose 75 pounds, 3 years. It wasn't fast. It's easy now to think about what I did, but then it wasn't easy. I still had those struggles, and it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to lose weight. Let's go down the hill. It was like, let's go down and then stop and go and stop and go. And maybe let's go a few backward steps up, because it wasn't just simple as, it was simple, but it wasn't. Like, it's kind of a weird way to say it, but it took time. I look at the journey. I look back at it now, and it makes me happy and proud, because that journey showed me that I can do this. There was nothing inside of me stopping me. Actually, there was something inside of me stopping me, and it was just me. It wasn't anybody else. It wasn't anything else. There was nobody stopping me, but just the story that I told myself, which was, Tina, just stay here, stay safe, stay comfortable. You are a mom, you're busy. Nobody expects you to do anything more. Like, that was my story. But it wasn't real. Inside of me, there was somebody like clawing and scratching and fighting, like, no, there's more. You're not done. Like, let's write more. Let's write the good stuff. Let's get rid of the negative and let's focus on the positive. And so, over that journey, I discovered running. Right? Jeff, do I like running?
She does now. So I was going to say, this is one of, the better parts about your journey is that it shifted from just being about losing the weight to you becoming passionate about more things that were healthy. And running just so happened to be one of those things that you developed a passion for, where it was something that you said you would never do or you hated to do. And to now have completed several marathons and love every second of them, is an amazing shift. And, that's what, ultimately has led to where, the sustained ability is where you're at, is the focus is shifted. It's shifted on all the positives that you've added to your life, and not all the things you shouldn't be doing, but it's all the things you should be doing, all the things you want to be doing. And then you're getting the return, and, let's get past the weight loss. It's obvious that that's happened. And now it's about so much more than that. And it's been amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And just so anybody listening know, like Jeff said, if you don't know me, so I told Jeff I hated running. I would avoid anything to do with running at all costs. I'm sitting just a block away from a hill that I couldn't even make it up the first time we left Pulse, when it was a little bit block down the road. I couldn't even run up this hill. And I remember thinking, I hate this. I don't want to do this. But you know what I really hated? I hated that feeling inside of me that was stopping me from even wanting to try as well. I hated that feeling. I hated maybe not being the best at something. I wasn't great at anything, but I didn't like that feeling of just feeling like a total failure. And running was an outlet that I used that not only helped, sure, when I first started running, I'm like, I still had that little bit of like, this is going to be a big calorie burn, do this. Then all of a sudden my mind got clearer and things felt better everywhere, not just working out and not just losing weight, but my whole mindset had shifted around everything I did. I approached things as, I can do this. Like, I can do hard things. It was just another part of my journey, another stepping stone towards this freedom that I was, like I told you, that I was looking for. It was clawing inside of me, like, you can do this. And I still feel like that to this day sometimes. Like, I still struggle. Like Jeff said, he said, it's been 9 years. Guess how many days a week I work at my mindset and doing good things for myself? 7. Ooh, can you see my hands here? 7 days a week. I work at doing the things that I know make me feel good, because I know what it likes. I know what it feels like to feel good now. And I know what it feels like to not feel good. And I don't ever want to go back there. And it's not that I have to do anything. It's just part of my lifestyle now. So I don't want to scare you like, oh, you must have to work really hard. It's like, no, I work really hard at making good choices that feel good and are in alignment with the person I want to be. And that's really that's just really my focus. Like, I want anybody listening to this to know that if you have that inside of you, that's like, I know there's more. I promise you there is more. I can guarantee you there's more. And, that's what we do here. That's what this team right here you're looking at does, is we help people find that more of your story so that you can keep writing just like I did.
And, kind of use that as a nice little segue into how you actually became a coach of ours, or coach here at Pulse. And I still remember the day that I was sitting on my couch watching TV and I sent over a text message to you.
Yep. And yeah, I remember
crossed.
too. And it came in and I was getting ready for bed because I always joke I'm an old lady. It was, for Jeff, it was probably like 9 o'clock. He was just winding down for the night and gonna watch a Blues game or something. And I was getting ready to go to sleep and the message came in. It was one of these, like, put the phone down. Like, I just was like, obviously, floored. Like, oh my gosh, like, is this real? Is this message real? Does he really want to talk to me about this? And then it kind of turned into, again, another story. Like, well, who are you to help somebody? And again, I'm just going to go right back to having good people and mentors in your life. Because I had a good mentor and people surrounding me that were positive and helping me, it was easy, because that person showed me, like Jeff always said, if you can help one person, that's the goal. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. Like, again, then you go back to that. I can do this. I can do hard things. I can do the things that somebody told me maybe that I couldn't do, or that I don't believe that are possible. They are possible. And because of the guidance and support that I have and had and still have with now this amazing team, I know now that, like, our stories are going to be written for much longer just because of that. Like, knowing that is so exciting to me. And it, like, honestly fires me up when someone's talking to me and they're like, they see me like get a little giggly and giddy. They're probably like, uh-oh, she's got a rocket going off in her head about how excited she is about what I just said. So yeah, that was 2018 that Jeff asked me to join the gym as a trainer. And I won't say the rest is history because there's stuff along the way there, but yeah, like, getting to help people has been, people always joke, like, you don't get to do what you love, but I do. So if I'm like in that small percentage of people that gets to, like, go to work and do the things that they really are passionate about, like, I get to do that. And I'm excited to do it. And knowing that I'm helping anyone at any time with anything, whatever their problem is that they're dealing with, I mean, these guys know me. Like, they'll, like, I get excited. Like, you can see it happens. And I, like I said, it's everything that's happened. Like, Jessica, back to your question, what got you to walk through the door? I don't know exactly what it was. I'm going to call it divine intervention, to be honest with you. I feel like everything happens for a reason. Mm-hmm. And the fact that I'm sitting here today talking about this is mind blowing. Like, it is just, it's changed my life. I've even told people before it's saved my life. And that is true, because the trajectory that I was on was not sustainable. It wasn't leading me anywhere that I knew I didn't want to go, right? Imagine being like on a train and you're going not on the vacation you want to go on. I wanted to go somewhere different, and finding Pulse as a client and then as now working here, just the satisfaction I have in knowing that my trajectory is onward and upward and anywhere I want it to be, because I know I can, changes everything.
which is amazing. And as you guys can probably see, the passion that she has for helping people through this so far is obvious, made it, pretty obvious why I would have asked her, 7 years ago or whatever it's been to become one of our coaches. And I'm so thankful that I've sent that message and that I've had the privilege to work with Tina for the last 7 years and be on this journey together. Josh or Jessica, do you guys have any other questions that you would like to ask Tina?
Yeah. Josh, you haven't asked me a question
Well,
yet.
Fortunately,
I know.
no,
I
mean,
was
and every time something came to my mind, then the question got asked and answered. But I did want to know, so as you've worked through these years of coaching, what are some of your favorite moments? Either in the gym or working in the office, talking to someone. What are your favorite moments?
Yeah, so like I said, when I first got asked to do this, I had a lot of fears about being able to help somebody. So I can still remember just like even running a workout, being very nervous that somebody would know that I was new, or just learning the ropes and learning to do everything. So it's nice sitting here 6 years later and feeling that much more comfortable and confident in delivering a workout or delivering some mentorship to a client. So some of my highlights of that would just be being a part of watching Pulse grow and being here on the ride with it, and just knowing that we're on such a great path and not having those fears anymore. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm just like anybody else. Like I still want to make sure that I'm doing the right things. But there is a different level of confidence about me. And that's even something funny. My husband told me that within the last year, he's just like, you're just so much more confident than I've ever seen you before. And it's just, it's just been amazing to watch, things, how I have unfolded. And it was just such a nice compliment for him to share that with me. Because he had seen, obviously he has been, we'll be married for 18 years this year, but he had been along for some highs and lows of life. And so, I think the highlights of that are just even if I appeared confident, I love that I can feel confident now too. And that just takes practice. And so whenever I get to help somebody who comes in and they're telling me they're feeling very hopeless and they're feeling like a failure and they're feeling like they can't do something. And guess what? I know what that feels like. So when I talk to them and I get to share with them what I can see happening if we do certain things or find their focus and get them on the right path, damn, that feels good to see their eyes light up and say, okay, I can do this. And it's like, yes, you can. So that's definitely the highlight.
Awesome.
Jessica, do you have any more questions for Tina?
You guys froze on me.
Oh, sorry. Jessica, do you have any questions?
No, Tina answered everything for me. That was great. That was great to hear.
It was great to hear. Tina, it's like I said, it's been awesome having you on the team. And, for that matter, Josh and Jessica, the foursome that we have going right now, I couldn't feel any better about moving forward. And to see your passion is still at an all-time high is amazing. And I can't wait to see all the, how many more people you get to help in the future, because that's, truly exciting for me to know that you're part of this team, and watching the people have success underneath you is just as exciting for me as if I was working with them. So thank you so much for sharing your story. I know it's going to resonate with plenty of other busy moms out there. So I hope they all, I know they're going to take something away from this. And again, I know that was tough. Some of that can be tough to share. So thank you for being a little bit vulnerable. And we'll cue the music. So thank you for being a little bit vulnerable. And